Legolas is everyone's favorite elf archer from the Lord of the Rings who can shoot arrows in rapid succession. What would it take for mere mortals like us to have the same ability and skills that Legolas does? Is there some device that could unlock this for us? Well, these dreams are now a reality with the invention of an entirely new weapons category we are calling the Bow Magazine. And these things are awesome. I'm out here above beautiful Lake Tahoe, which is behind me at a friend's Airbnb, and I thought it would be the perfect place to demonstrate one of our coolest and most innovative products we sell at my new company, Go Gun, and also this whole trip becomes a tax write-off if I make a marketing video during it. Now this Bow Magazine is already assembled, but we're gonna splice it into the video right now. If you want to skip the assembly parts, you can go to this time in the video instead. This particular Bow Magazine is called the Fenris, and while it can be paired with many different types of bows, we most commonly sell it with the grayback compound bow. Here's how to assemble it. The first thing you'll want to do is adjust the draw weight of the bow. That's how hard it is to pull back this string. So to do that, you're just going to back out these draw weight adjustment screws. Now, the trick to doing this is you want to make sure that you're turning each screw an equal amount, and I would recommend 2 full counterclockwise rotations as soon as you get the bow. So there's one on that side, and then on the other side you want to do the same thing. 2 full rotations. There's 1. There's 2. The next thing you want to do is adjust the let-off position of the bow by adjusting these cams. Now here the manual says to put the outer screw in the number 2 position, which is a 25-inch let-off. I prefer it a little bit shorter at the number 1 position, which is a 24.5-inch let-off. And then, of course, you're going to do the same thing with the other side. So this is what mine looks like. Next, you're going to adjust the pull-out stopper on the Fenris. I like to put it in this 4th position here, which matches with my 24.5-inch let-off. Next, you're going to mount the bracket to the bow, and mine's got a few little dings in it because it's used, but you just put these 2 big bolts in, and you want to kick that bracket all the way back and just tighten those bolts down. Now you're going to feed the magazine between these roller wheels here. It should roll through nice and smooth. Get it through both sets of wheels, and then you're going to guide that string into that magazine slot. Next, you want to put the handle back on, and then turn it over and tighten that thumb screw in. Next, jiggle the magazine around a little bit and see how much play there is between those roller wheels. If you need the wheels to be clamped down a little bit more, loosen that grub screw. And if you need the wheels to spread apart more, you want to tighten down that grub screw. And there's a grub screw on the back as well, so do the same thing with both the front and back. Next, move the magazine back and forth and keep an eye on that string and make sure that it has clearance to run through the channel of the magazine and that it's not rubbing on either side of it. If it is rubbing, you can loosen up these screws here and these screws here, and you can nudge the magazine around a little bit and then retighten them, and that will allow you to adjust the position of the string relative to the magazine. If you've got a red dot sight with your Fenris, you can attach it to the front Picatinny rail super easily. Just goes on with 2 screws like so. If you bought the optional laser attachment, the laser bracket goes on just like that, and the laser is inserted like this. These screws sight the laser in, and these grub screws on the other side
mount the laser into the laser bracket. If you got the optional trigger holder attachment, it can be mounted in various positions, but this is where I like to mount it. Once it's mounted, pull the Fenris all the way back. Make sure that holder doesn't crush your finger, but you can still get a comfortable grip on it. To load the Fenris, pull the feed lever to the side, and then grab an arrow. Take a look at that nock. Make sure it's being guided in by the little notches on the Fenris magazine. You can put 5 arrows in, and then once you're done, put that feed lever back.
The Fenris is an arrow magazine or bow magazine that attaches to most compound bows or recurve bows, and it totally changes the game for archery. Not only does it allow you to shoot multiple arrows in rapid succession, but it also improves your shot consistency and accuracy as all the arrows are guided along this fixed metal rail which is securely mounted to the rest of the bow. You also have a spot to mount lasers and red dot sights, iron sights, whatever kind of optics you want to mount. There's just a Picatinny rail, so fully customizable. Shooting with a bow magazine is super simple. You just hold the bow normally with your left hand, and you grab this comfortable handle with your right hand, and this is your trigger. So the whole operation is basically you slide forward, pull back, trigger, forward, back, trigger, forward, back, trigger, and you can empty the whole magazine in rapid succession, just like Legolas. Let me demonstrate. Once you've fired all your arrows, you'll know because you can't actually slide the rail forward anymore. This lever that chambers the next arrow has a little hook on it. So that'll catch the drawstring and it'll let you know you're out of arrows. This is an important safety feature because if I pull the arrow, or if I pull the lever out of the way and I do slide it forward, the drawstring is caught, I can pull it back and I would be able to dry fire the bow, which is not good for any kind of bow because all the energy that would normally go into accelerating an arrow goes and vibrates through the limbs of the bow and can cause damage. There's another cool trick that I want to show you. This trigger holder, we call it, allows you to draw the string back, and normally you'd be holding the string back with all your effort in your right arm, but you can use your finger instead and actually just hold your tension like that. So, and then when you're ready to shoot, you just tap the trigger. So that saves you a lot of energy of having to keep pulling back on that string. Another cool trick I want to show you is with the optional green laser sight. You can basically shoot this thing from the hip. You don't even need to look down it. Let me demonstrate. Once you've got it cocked, as long as that green laser is on the target, you can just press that trigger and you'll hit that target. You might be thinking, wow, that's really cool. Bow magazines can basically turn any bow into a crossbow, and you're partially right, but it's actually better than that because most crossbows and even the repeating crossbows that we sell, you have to take your sights down off the target to load the next arrow in. But with a Fenris, you can actually keep your sights on the target the whole time you're firing. So there's an important advantage with bow magazines. I'm not going to demonstrate the damage capabilities of this thing because it really just depends on which bow you attach your Fenris to. We sell this grayback bow bundled with the Fenris. The draw weight of the string can be adjusted up to 75 pounds just using these screws, the draw weight screws. So you can crank them up and you can have a super powerful bow and bow magazine. There are tons of people on the internet demonstrating the power of compound bows, so you can probably find better videos there. So are there any drawbacks to using a bow magazine? Yes, there's two that I will mention. One is that when you don't use a bow magazine, you're pulling the drawstring all the way back to basically your cheek. And when you use a bow magazine, you are pulling the handle back to your cheek, and so you actually lose maybe 2 to 3 inches of draw length in your draw. So that distance could be space where the arrow is accelerating. However, you lose it when you use a bow magazine. Now you can compensate for that by cranking your draw weight up a little bit higher, and there'll be basically no difference. The other drawback is that this is not completely weightless, so there is more weight that is added that you'll have to hold up. Now, some of that weight can be supported with your right hand, but some of it is going to be held with your left hand. So your muscles will fatigue a little bit faster than if you were holding just a normal bow that didn't have this. Now, there is a trade-off there because you also have this grip that we sell separately that you can add to this, and that will actually save a lot of muscle fatigue of holding this thing cocked, where if you didn't have a bow magazine, you'd have to use all your muscles to keep the string drawn, whereas with a bow magazine you can just sort of hook your finger around there and keep it drawn for as long as you want. So yes, it is heavier, but you save a lot of energy in keeping that string drawn. If you're interested in purchasing one of these setups and you live in North America, you can go to my website, gogun.co. If you are in the UK, you can go to gogun.uk. And if you're anywhere in Europe, you can go to gogun.de. We've sold hundreds of these things so far, and I know my business partner, Joerg, over in Germany, has sold even more than that. Now that we're able to keep a steady supply on the shelves, I thought I would do this little marketing video. So now is your chance to become Legolas. If you want to get notified of new products, go to gogun.co, scroll all the way down to the bottom of the website. There's a little field to enter your email address, and we'll email you anytime we come up with a new invention. All right, that's it for today. Catch you next time.